sit down.
You're out of line and an embarrassment.
Sit down and don't play this stuff.
The next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No, he needs to get his ass out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
This is totally predictable when you...
Sir, you're out of line.
Ladies and gentlemen, when the Republican Party of Georgia moved Herschel Walker from Texas to Georgia so that he could run for Senate, it's because change was taking too fast in the post-antebellum South. So they figured that they would delude us by picking somebody who they thought would in fact represent us better with a football than with a degree in philosophy.
So why don't you come on down here, join me on the debate stage, and we'll see who's really the better candidate for Florida's 1st District. And you can stop creeping on my children and having pictures taken of them and then reposting them online when they're sitting alone in public at events that aren't even mine. It's creepy and it's disgusting, and someone accused of doing the things that you're accused of doing with girls and boys about his age should really stay away from that one.
Sir, you are out of line. Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a sick son of a would come to a deal like this to make a political issue.
What you just witnessed were Republican politicians and officials in the state of Texas who showed way more outrage over Beto O'Rourke confronting them about what they've done in that state than they did when news broke involving children getting gunned down in a classroom. They refer to him as a, sick son of a bee because he had the audacity to do something that, quite frankly, I wish more Democrats had the courage to do. Instead of playing these games with civility and, oh, my dear colleague, yeah, how about you stir the pot a little bit? How about you call them out? Especially as they're about to hold a press conference to pretend as though they're really concerned about these families who just, got word that their 4th grade children were slaughtered by a mass shooter, an 18-year-old mass shooter.
Since Herschel Walker was 16 years old, white men been telling him what to do, telling him what school to go to, where to live, where to eat, where to buy a house, where to run, where to sit down, where to sleep, where to pay for abortions, where to buy a gun. And you think they not gonna tell him how to vote? In 2022, we don't need a walker, we need a runner.
Damn. You just heard from mega pastor Jamal H. Bryant, just absolutely shredding Georgia Senate candidate Herschel Walker for essentially being a prop for white men and the Republican Party. It is interesting. I didn't think about Republicans, using Herschel Walker to attract black voters specifically in Georgia. It didn't even occur to me. It should have. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a strategy I can see them using to kind of, in their minds, attract voters who they think simply vote based on race. But that's a stereotype about voters. Stereotype about black voters.
I'm somebody who accuses the Democrats of this racial ventriloquist type of politics, right? Where it's like, yo, we'll get some black person and we'll let the black people shoehorn some of the most least progressive stuff out there, and we'll use them as human meat shields because it's like, oh, they're black. It's fine. I think, kind of the worst representative of that, to be honest, was Obama. But a lot of these people are credible though. They come from black institutions, HBCUs, black fraternities and sororities. They come from the black churches. They're credible. They're of the people. They're of those communities. They're of these people and their norms and stuff like that. Herschel Walker ain't none of that. He is none of that. He killed at the University of Georgia. He's legitimately one of the greatest, most decorated players in the history of that program. So yes, in the 80s, he delivered some amazing memories for the citizens of Georgia, 100%. So I can understand why there's a positive connotation to him and his name. But it's so messed up. Like I said, at least if they go out and get somebody who's of the black church or of, HBCUs and all of that. Like, there's some credibility there. Like, there's no credibility. It's so insulting to the black people of Georgia.
Hey everyone, I'm Rebecca Jones. I'm the candidate running against Matt Gaetz in Florida's 1st Congressional District, and I have some pretty disturbing news about something that he just posted. I took my son with me today, my 12-year-old autistic son, to help me man a booth at the Health Expo, which was in Fort Walton Beach. And Matt Gaetz apparently had someone take pictures of my 12-year-old autistic son while he was at the booth by himself and posted it, mocking him on Facebook. Now, I get that my son is about the same age as Nestor was when he started living with you, Matt, but if you haven't learned anything from when DeSantis raided my house at gunpoint, you don't f*** with my kids.
So she put out a pretty strongly worded video, which is, look, I got to say, it's just rare to see Democratic candidates get ferocious like that. And so I appreciated it. But a few things to clear up before I go to you, Cenk. She mentions Nestor, which is a particularly embarrassing topic to bring up for Matt Gaetz, because Matt Gaetz had alleged that he was the father of an immigrant, right? A person of color. And it turned out that he was referring to Nestor, who was a Cuban boy that he took in when he was 12 years old, but he never adopted Nestor. And we never even heard about Nestor until he was like 19 years old. And Matt Gaetz mentioned him in a politically advantageous way.
Okay, see, that's how you grab media attention. And so do I know that Gaetz was personally stalking her 12-year-old son, or it was just a staffer that took a funny picture and had no idea that was her son? I don't know, and I don't care. You think Matt Gaetz cares? He doesn't care. He lies about everything. And so, and as I was watching Rebecca Jones' video for the first time, and she was saying, you can't go after my son, I thought, if I was her, I'd bring up Nestor. And then she said Nestor. I was like, oh my God, I love her. Okay, there you go. There you go. Finally, a Democrat that fights back. And guess what happened? Hey, we're all talking about it.